Hi, welcome to my Creating Innovative Uses of Technology project. It's created by me, Trevor Riem, and it's for Central Michigan University, part of EDU 709. So let's begin. My project title is titled Using Blogs and Podcasts to Compare American Governmental Ideals and Learn How Our System of Government Was Influenced. So the rationale behind my project, I chose to work with both blogging and podcasting technologies and integrate them into an online government course I had previously started for another class. I believe it was the distance education course. I believe implementing a blog for students to post their completed work will provide an incentive for students to complete their best product on their assignments, as well as make the material accessible for others to view. I also felt that adding a podcasting project to the course would allow students the ability to create their own unique project and explain their own take on our governmental foundations and the ideas they have influenced it. Both blogging and podcasting are my hope of offering some excitement and a change of pace to my alternative education students who I work with, who mostly complete their work through the course management system Edgenuity. Also, a lot of my students, both male and female alike, already make or want to make their own music. They think they're rappers. So I figured by using podcasting, I'm offering a way for them to use Audacity, a free software they can use. So hopefully they can use this in their personal life as well as get some education out of it. The U.S. government course I used for this project was created using the website creator Weebly. I felt Weebly was a great website creator that I feel comfortable with, and it also allows me to do a lot. Allows me to present various types of content into my course. I can provide documents, videos, additional website links, and also include assessments, which I'm using for my government course. But in addition to Weebly, I chose to use the following technologies and websites. I use Blogger, Audacity, the Internet Archive website, YouTube, Google Drive, which I've actually used to create this presentation, the website Sound Bible, and the website Gemendo. And on this slide, I have a few snapshots I took. Here's my blog I created in Blogger for the course. This one right here is the Internet Archive. Over here is a screenshot of Jamendo. Here is the Sound Bible. And then right here is actually what Audacity looks like. So let's look at the lessons. Lesson 1 will task students with initially learning how to create a blog and how to create a podcast. This includes signing up for a Blogger account, downloading free podcasting software, Audacity, locating websites for audio files, learning how to use both the website and software, and uploading a finished podcast to the Internet Archive. Lesson 2 will task students with creating a podcast that shows the influence of ideas presented in past historical documents and how they help shape our country's ideas about government. Students will then upload the podcast to the Internet Archive and post it on their blogs to share with their teacher and fellow classmates. So, let's take a look at my class. This is the online government course I created using Weebly. We'll see here, just kind of gives a brief overview of how to use the website and what the course is for. This course was meant for a distance learning course, but I do have to say that there is a textbook that I'm going off of. Again, we're an alternative education program. We don't always have the most up-to-date curriculum. So I'm actually using a textbook I bought, and the copyright is 1999. It's very old. But I thought using an old textbook and trying to put in new technology, I thought would be a good mesh. And it actually fits our system very well. But here's a little way to navigate the course. On the left-hand side, there's a button you can open up. Opens up a menu interface. Here, I have the syllabus. We can look at the expectations. This is actually part of what I created with the last course, so I won't go over that too much. But if I click here, this lesson actually starts in week 2. At the beginning of the week, students take a pre-test. I created this in Google Docs. I'm going to have to click here. They will take the pre-test, enter their name, first name, last name, that's how I tell who they are, and a couple questions I would like them to answer. They'll submit that, and then they'll start with the unit instructions. Here I have some focus questions that I'd like them to think about, as well as the objectives for the class or the lesson. And then I do have instructions on how we are going to go about this lesson, what they have to do each day, as well as resources and discussion questions. But let's get into the fun stuff. Let's actually look at the lesson. For Monday, the first day, I do have to know also I have them, besides doing these 2 lessons where they're creating podcasts and using a blog, they're also learning content throughout the course. So that's in addition to those 2 projects. So for Monday, complete the pretest and read Chapter 2, Section 1. They create a document, go through the key terms and vocab. And then also, the first thing they do here is they create their own blog using Blogger. So I have a link right here. Here's a couple blogs I already use. But for the students, if they're not sure, there is a video right here which they can look at and listen to how to create their blog. But I do have specifics on how I would like them to name it. Their first name, last initial, followed by online government blog. Once they're done with that, they're going to send it to me in an email. The next day, Tuesday, they're going to begin formatting the blog. But then also, I do want them to watch this cool video I found on YouTube that does go over the Magna Carta, English Bill of Rights, and how it ties into the American government. If you have not seen this guy, he's pretty funny.
Howdy.
He gives a lot
Welcome to Intensive Review.
He gives a lot of reviews for, I believe it's South Carolina AP classes, but I found his videos pretty informative and comical. After that, students will download Audacity, take them to the Audacity website where they can download that. Just taking a second here. Here's where they can download Audacity. As well as I have 2 videos I've embedded where it learns how to use Audacity for beginners, as well as how to use Audacity to create a podcast, which they will be doing in the next day. Actually, the first assignment for this week involving podcasts is to create a trial podcast which talks about their experience creating their blog, as well as the lessons for this week. But also an important part of this is I do want to go over copyright and the Creative Commons, so students are aware of what they use within their podcasts. I think it's very important for students to realize that they need to cite everything they use. After they watch those 2 videos, here is the directions for their podcast. The first week's podcast trial. I won't go over it too much. But here, they do want them to visit the 3 websites, Jamendo, Sound Bible, and Creative Commons Search. They will create a new folder, podcasting, and then find and download at least 1 music track and 1 sound effect. And then they're just going to create a really short podcast going over their newly created blog and the lesson. But I do want them to include intro music, sound effect, and an outro, which it does explain in these videos right here. After they're done with that, I do want them to read again Chapter 2, Section 2, and do the key terms and vocabs for that. But then next, they're going to download and install the lame MP3 encoder, which allows them to export MP3 files from from Audacity. And here's a short video that shows them how to do that if they're not sure. Next, they go to the Internet Archive and they create an account. Great resource right here. They can post and find material, which I'll talk about in our next lesson a little bit more in detail. Then Friday kind of sums up the week. They're going to upload their trial podcast on the Internet Archive using the encoder to make an MP3 file. They're going to post that, and they're going to make their first blog post. The blog post is going to consist of a reflection of the week's assignments, as well as a link to their Internet Archive assignment. Next, I do have them go to our discussion blog. And they do have some questions here that go over the week's content. Lastly, they're going to review, and they'll take the post-test. So that's lesson 1. Next, we're going to look at lesson 2, kind of the nitty-gritty of this assignment here. They'll start with a pre-test again. Once they're done with that, we do look at the unit instructions again, goes over some more focused questions as well as what we're going to do each day and the objectives we're looking to meet. Now this course I put here at the top This is a crucial week in the course. Not only will the material you learn from the readings build on everything else within the course, but you have a major project to complete in your historical document podcast. It is imperative that you remain on schedule with your daily tasks. I found myself trying to make each day the same amount of work, and I did have some time trying to figure that out. So for Monday, they're going to take the pre-test, read Chapter 2, Section 3, do their key term and vocabularies. But then here, they're going to open the Historical Documents Podcast Project. Very similar to what they did last week, but this time, they're going to be upping the amount of music tracks and sound effects they use. But here, the main idea is they're going to look at these historical documents, the Magna Carta, English Bill of Rights, the Mayflower Compact, Iroquois Confederation, John Locke's Second Treatise, Federalist Number 10, Thomas Paine's Common Sense, and they are going to compare at least 3 of those and see the ideals and things that are within them and how that matches with our current system of government. I do want them to have it at least 10 to 15 minutes long, intro music, outro music, sound effects, but also mainly explain the central ideas located within the documents they chose and how those central ideas have influenced our government. Next, they will go to Jamendo, Sound Bible, CC Search to find at least their music for the podcast presentation. Next, they're actually going to open Audacity and insert the music to at least get the project going. I want them to save it. Next, on Tuesday, this is kind of a big day for them. They're going to read through historical documents, which, again, if I open this instructions, and these are actually links to where they can find each of the articles I'm looking for, or I want them to read. And it opens up a website for them to actually read it. Now, the nice thing that I believe I'm offering the student is they can read each one of these, the Magna Carta, the English Bill of Rights, and etc., as well as a lot of the things I found here, they can actually listen to them as well. So I've embedded some podcasts where they can listen to the Magna Carta.
Master Pandulph, subdeacon and member of the Papal Right Reckon.
Lots of fun there. They can actually download this if they go to the Internet Archive website, download it, and input it into their podcast. Cut and paste what they'd like to use to kind of flashen up their podcast. Here I have the English Bill of Rights. This one takes us to Bill of Rights written out. So unfortunately, they do have to read this one. They can, unless they can find it on their own. I could not find audio for that. Mayflower Compact, I have it written as well as it's in their textbook on page 48. The Iroquois Confederation, I did find a nice website that goes over some ideals that they can find in there. But again, for that one, it is in their textbook. Now, John Locke's Second Treatise, I did find a nice comparison of Thomas Hobbes and John Locke, which goes over how John Locke and Thomas Hobbes felt about the nature of people. But here, I do have both Book 1 and Book 2 of John Locke's Issues on Government, and I think it's great that they can listen to all of these. I also have Federalist Number 10, as well as a lot of the other Federalist essays that students can listen to and again download and put into their project, and Thomas Paine's Common Sense. So that's sort of a big day. Remember, they're tasked with reading and listening to those. But I do kind of give them a little bit of a break on Wednesday. They do have to read one more section in their textbook and the key terms and vocabulary. But today they're actually continuing to read, listen, and view the documents. So I do give them a little bit of an extra day to do that. But also, they should be beginning the podcast project. Thursday, major work day. This is when they are going to be finalizing their project. I would like them to have this saved and exported as an MP3 file. Friday, they're going to log back into the Internet Archive like they did last week, upload their trial podcast, and then log into Blogger, post a new post, or create a new post, I should say, and then upload their new podcast to it. And then I'll, at the end, do a discussion blog, reread some of the reading if they need to, and then they'll take their post-test. The nice thing about my lesson, or at least what I believe to be nice, is it gives the students something different to do other than their typical activities. Most of my students, alternative education students, do not want to sit in front of a computer and do Edgenuity all day. Yes, this is in front of a computer, but they're actually working on a software that they do not typically use in Audacity. And they're able to look at and find their own type of music and be able to manipulate that as well as learn course content. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to seeing you in our next class. Bye.